Geralt of Rivia begins in a prison cell, interrogated by Vernon Roach of the Blue Stripes. Accused of assassinating King Foltest, Geralt recounts the events that led to his imprisonment. As the story unfolds, Geralt reveals he was aiding Foltest in a siege to reclaim his children from a rebellious noble family who had taken refuge in a monastery. During the siege, Geralt serves as Foltest's bodyguard and helps secure the stronghold. After a successful operation, they find the children, but in a moment of confusion, a mysterious assassin disguised as a monk kills the king. Geralt fights to stop him, but is ultimately knocked unconscious. The assassin escapes, and Geralt is blamed for the murder. Roach believes Geralt and arranges his escape from prison. Together, they flee the city of La Valette by boat, heading toward the Temerian border. Geralt hopes to find the real killer and clear his name. Along the way, he learns that multiple kings have been assassinated, and the killings are not isolated incidents but part of a greater conspiracy. Their journey leads them to the town of Flotsam, a dense forest settlement plagued by monsters and political tension. Here, Geralt reunites with Triss Marigold, a powerful sorceress, and his lover. Tensions rise between humans and non-humans, especially with the Scoia'tael, an elven guerrilla group waging war against human oppressors. Geralt, Triss, and Roach uncover that the mysterious assassin belongs to a group known as the Kingslayers. Their trail leads to Iorveth, the elven leader of the Scoia'tael. Geralt must decide whether to ally with Roach or Iorveth, a choice that will shape his path and determine who helps him in tracking down the killer. Choosing Roach means siding with the human military, while choosing Iorveth aligns Geralt with the oppressed non-humans. Each path offers different allies, challenges, and consequences. As they pursue the Kingslayers, Geralt's memories begin returning in fragments, hinting at a deeper connection to the assassins. The chase leads them into forests teeming with danger, including monstrous creatures like the Karen, a massive tentacled beast that blocks river trade. Geralt kills the Karen, gaining the townspeople's trust and moving forward in his investigation. The trail of the Kingslayers continues to the city of Vergen or the Kaedwen camp, depending on Geralt's previous choice. In Vergen, a dwarven mining town caught in the war, Geralt learns more about Saskia the Dragonslayer, a warrior leading a revolt for equality. She is under threat from both enemy forces and hidden sorcery. Geralt uncovers that Saskia is actually a dragon in human form, enchanted to serve others' interests. Meanwhile, if Geralt chooses Roach's path, he ventures into Kaedwen, ruled by King Henselt, who is also a target of the Kingslayers. Tensions rise between Kaedwen and Temeria, and a deadly curse known as a blood curse causes havoc on the battlefield. Geralt must lift the curse by reenacting key elements of the original slaughter. Geralt performs a ritual to lift the curse, requiring powerful magic and ingredients, leading to tense moments where allies are sacrificed. As the curse lifts, Geralt gains the trust of King Henselt. However, the king proves treacherous, forcing Geralt into difficult moral decisions and questioning the worth of loyalty. As Geralt delves deeper into the political landscape, he uncovers just how intertwined the sorceresses of the Lodge are with the ruling elite. They aim to create a new world order where mages hold more direct control over monarchs. This revelation leaves Geralt torn between his distrust of manipulation and his understanding that some rulers are far worse without magical checks on their power. In one pivotal moment, Geralt discovers a hidden dungeon filled with tortured victims, prisoners of political purges ordered by leaders seeking to silence dissent. These scenes shake him, forcing him to reflect on his own neutrality. He realizes that staying neutral in a world so broken will only enable greater evil. It marks the turning point in Geralt's internal struggle, and from this moment, he begins to act with greater conviction. Back in Vergen, political tensions erupt as noble factions manipulate Saskia for power. Triss goes missing, being kidnapped by the Lodge of Sorceresses, a secretive group of powerful women who may be orchestrating the royal assassinations for their own ends. Geralt pursues clues to rescue her. In his search for Triss, Geralt also learns that she tried to expose the Lodge's intentions, but was betrayed by one of her own. Her resilience even in captivity impresses Geralt, and he's more determined than ever to protect her. When he finally reaches her, the emotional reunion is brief. They're immediately thrown into another conflict, but their bond holds strong. Amid all the lies and betrayals, Geralt's path soon intersects with that of Letho, the true Kingslayer. Letho reveals shocking truths. He is a witcher from the School of the Viper, and once fought alongside Geralt. He was promised land and support for the Witchers in exchange for assassinating kings, manipulating political power in favor of Nilfgaard. Geralt recalls more about his past, how he once saved Letho's life, how he lost his memory while trying to protect Yennefer, and how the Wild Hunt may be connected to the chaos now consuming the North. With clarity returning, he becomes more resolute in his purpose to choose his own path amidst the chaos. Depending on earlier choices, Geralt may save Triss, or uncover that Philippa Alhart, a member of the Lodge, controls Saskia through a magical amulet. Geralt confronts her and must decide whether to free Saskia or let her remain under influence. Every decision weighs heavily on the fate of nations. Meanwhile, Geralt crosses paths with sorceress Sal de Tonsarville, a powerful member of the Lodge who plans to use a megascope to escape when her schemes fall apart. In a dramatic twist, Geralt can sabotage the device, leading to her horrific death in a magical implosion, or choose to let her go. Depending on his judgment, each of these choices adds weight and replay value to the experience, highlighting Geralt's moral complexity. What starts as a manhunt turns into a layered journey about power, justice, and the grayness of truth. No matter whom Geralt supports, he realizes that corruption seeps into every side of the war. As the war nears its climax, Geralt finds himself leading forces, something he never wished to do. Elves, dwarves, humans, and even reluctant allies look to him for guidance. Though a witcher by trade, Geralt becomes a symbol of resistance, someone who, despite his past and profession, ends up influencing the fate of entire kingdoms. Battle erupts as rival factions clash. Kaedwen attacks Vergen, or the Nilfgaardian army approaches from the south. Geralt, alongside his chosen allies, participates in an all-out war where lives are lost, alliances shift, and kingdoms crumble. The political landscape of the northern kingdoms begins to collapse. Geralt finally confronts Letho in a secluded area. The two discuss their histories, betrayals, and ideologies. Letho admits he never hated Geralt and even saved Yennefer. Geralt is offered a choice to kill Letho and end the Kingslayers, or to let him go, understanding that killing him won't stop what's already in motion. The choice to kill or spare Letho defines the final tone of the story. Mercy may offer redemption, while vengeance brings closure. Either way, the political balance of the continent has shifted dramatically, and Geralt's role in shaping it is undeniable. With the Kingslayer plot unraveled, Geralt reflects on the manipulation of mages, kings, and soldiers. He questions his place in a world constantly teetering on war and chaos. Triss, Saskia, and other allies either depart or remain, based on player decisions throughout the journey. The final scenes show Nilfgaard preparing its armies for full-scale invasion. The northern kingdoms are fractured, and civil war brews. Geralt, now free from blame, but burdened by truth, sets his sights on finding Yennefer and confronting the looming threat of the Wild Hunt. As the camera pulls back, the continent stands on the brink of destruction, with old alliances crumbling and new empires rising. Geralt walks away, a lone figure in the fog, destined to face an even greater challenge ahead. The story ends not with closure, but with the promise of more trials, deeper conspiracies, and a war that will determine the fate of all. Geralt's journey continues into the next chapter, The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt.